We're talking about jaw width, how to understand improving your jaw width and how to go about that. So we've gone over definitions, getting a visual of how the jaw is supposed to be shaped, and we already did a quick introduction to what this guy is going to be about. So, jaw width, how to improve your jaw width, specifically how to target your masseter muscles. If you don't know what those are, we're going to get into it in just a second. And then jaw width aiding products, what's going to help you grow these muscles, and what routine should you be following. I'm going to give you guys exactly what routine. So what are your masseter muscles? These are robust facial muscles that are responsible for essential functions, primarily aiding in chewing and biting. Every time you open your mouth, you're stimulating that muscle. It's the main role of it is to actually lower your mandible jaw and facilitate mouth closure and give you that force that you need. It's a necessary force you need to break down food and chew. And they're situated on the side of your jaw, right at your cheekbone, down to the very bottom of your jaw, your mandible. In today's world, like I mentioned earlier, there's a growing concern that these vital muscles are weakening because of a change in diet. You know, we used to eat meat, tougher foods required more chewing, and now we're left with this shift towards softer and processed foods, which results in what? Demanding less chewing effort, which results in the masseter muscle not being fully engaged. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be engaging that muscle. And this trend can potentially lead to decreased muscle tone and definition in the jawline over time. We're seeing this with degeneration coming forward. So you're not at fault if you have a weak jaw, because I did too. Jaw width fundamentals, it's important to understand that naturally increasing your jaw width is dependent on developing your jaw muscles. That's the only way to go about it. So muscle growth is optimized when implementing a few key techniques. If you haven't been to the gym and you don't know how the muscles work, essentially, if you want to train your muscle, you got to start with sets and reps, employing specific sets and repetitions tailored to your fitness level. So you want to play around and get yourself the repetitions that you need in order to kind of like stimulate that muscle, which will be provided in the workout routines, which I'll give you guys in just a second. And then you want to track progressive overload in response to new stimuli. So gradually increasing the resistance over time. You don't want to keep doing the same routine over and over again. Of course, you want to increase and bring about challenges to your muscle to tear those little muscle fibers and induce growth. Introducing varied exercises as well, movements to prevent adaptation, and also to stimulate the muscle growth, like I just said. And then, of course, you want to push towards failure, but at the same time, you don't want to injure yourself. So exercising until your muscles reach near fatigue to maximize growth potential. You want to make sure you get the most out of your workouts. We don't want you doing goofy workouts for the rest of your life, right? I already just basically explained to you repetitions and sets. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and take a screenshot here and read it. I'm not gonna be redundant here. I feel like everyone that has been to the gym knows how repetitions and sets work. And then again, progressive overload, like I said, you want to get close. So if you're working out for a minute, next time you want to go work out for maybe a minute and a half. You want to go beyond that duration, or use a tougher gum, or use a tougher product, which we'll get into just a second. And then you want response to new stimuli, of course. During your initial phase, your jaw muscles will respond very swiftly, and then later on, you'll notice this growth, you'll notice this improvement in your jawline very close in the beginning, and then it'll start to plateau. And then, of course, you want to push closer to failure as a result, without giving yourself any injuries, which we will be covering in this guide too. We'll be going over injuries that come about from jaw training. So if you have a clicking jaw, we'll give you measures on how to improve that and go about that. But yeah, growing your masseter muscle is going to be the main key here. So to grow your masseter muscles effectively, you need more than just typical harder foods. While this is great, chewing harder foods, it's not the only thing that you need. It's essential to establish a routine with a specific type of gum. Now, if you don't want to invest in some crazy gum, chewing regular gum is better than nothing, so opt for that. Tracking your sets and reps if you're really about growing them, right? Consistency to aim to push yourself harder than the previous session is important. And if you're new to jaw training, the gains come in more easy at the beginning, as I mentioned earlier. Additionally, striving to push yourself closer to failure with each session. You have to remember that. Always push yourself, but don't do so in an irresponsible manner. In the routine section, I'm going to give you guys exactly what to do. So for jaw width aiding products, we have food. Like I mentioned, it's a passive way to keep your jaw in check. And then basic gum, the gum you can just pick up anywhere at any store. And then you have hard chewing gum, a gum that's gonna stimulate your jaw to the maximum without being, unchewable. And then jaw exercises, the ones that I recommend, the ones that are bullshit, we're gonna cover those as well. And then jaw width top tier list, being that, a list of what's gonna help you the most with your jaw, the least. I just ranked these methods for you guys. So foods that are going to help you with jaw width. Number 1, meats and seafood. Getting a fatty steak, opting for that instead of eating like fries, is not only good for your nutritional diet, but also it's going to stimulate your jaw. Get it grilled, pan-seared. It offers substantial protein, as I mentioned, and requires significant chewing. We all know how hard it is to chew steak, especially a fatty one. Then we have beef jerky. It's dried, it's tough, it provides satisfying jaw workouts. It's also a good protein source, but it is processed. Then we have grilled octopus. If you really want to get weird here, it does have a very firm texture and it's very delicious and it's challenging to chew. So if you haven't tried that, go ahead and try that. We have fruits, being that of pears, apples, you know how they are. Dried mango slices. Be careful with these because a lot of them have a lot of sugar in there. So if you don't really care, that is a very tough thing to chew on. Vegetables, eat your raw veggies. Carrots, they're great for your skin too. Celery, raw broccoli stalks, etc. Nuts and seeds, raw almonds, pumpkin seeds. Sweets and snacks, there's going to be licorice twists, dense granola bars, and caramel candies that are. But I really wouldn't recommend this because not only is it against our nutritional program, but it also, you can find other ways of going about working out your jaw. But I added that in there just because we're covering every category. And then, of course, we have these missed items or food items, being that of raw coconut, bagels even, hard cheese, whole grain bread, etc. So just opt for chewing harder foods. I'm sorry if I made this a bit too complicated, but I really want to give you realistic options here for a good, passive jaw workout. Now, as for basic gum, while hard gum is optimal for a jawline exercise, regular gum has its own advantages. I want you to get a flavor that you're going to love, so that's more enjoyable to chew, because what we're doing here is we're trying to give you longevity. It is very cost effective because it's very cheap and it provides some engagement for your jaw muscles. It's not the best, but it is better than nothing, right? So I'm going to give you guys the pros and cons here. It's plain and fast, it's simple, it's affordable, it's a good taste, but like I said, it's not optimal. The progress is slow, it's difficult to progressively overload, challenging to track, and I'm not going to have you sit there counting 200 chews. It's very unrealistic. And then it's hard to push until failure, of course, because it's like doing dumbbell curls at the easiest weight, but it's better than nothing, right? Hard chewing gum. Now this is what I really do here when I did for my jaw, but there's going to be 3 primary options and I've given all of them for you. We're going to do the pros and cons for each. I've extensively tried all 3. We have mastic gum, phallum gum, and jawliner gum. So mastic gum is going to be, if you look it up, I'll have some link below as well, but if you look it up, it's reusable, it's rechewable. There's potential health benefits to it, no artificial sweeteners and flavors, and they're all natural. It's a very common thing that is actually chewed in a lot of places as part of culture, and has an antioxidant health benefit, which is why I put that here. Whereas the cons is going to be that it tastes like you're eating leaves and raw grass. So if you really care about flavor, it tastes like shit. Man, it's very expensive compared to the other ones. It's not that expensive, but it is a couple of dollars over the jawline gum, which can be expensive because it is gum, right? Phallum gum is going to be